Every one of us has trouble spraying these crazy colors and candies and dry coats. What if I told you that there's a simple trick that all of us can do that's gonna help us spray and match even the most difficult colors in the world? Before you commit to any color, it is definitely wise to do some kind of spray out to check your color before you commit and put it on the vehicle. And spray outs come in many different sizes and shapes. If you're dealing with a tri-coat, if you're dealing with a candy, it's definitely wise to do some kind of letdown panel to check how many coats of midcoat you need to match it. But we're going in a completely different direction. We're gonna show you something that very few people know and very few people use, and we refer to this as the ultimate letdown panel. We've been wanting to do this ultimate letdown video for over a year now, and we're just getting around to do it, but also we had a lot of you guys asking about this Alpha paint line. I've never used it before. Today's my very first time. We reached out to Tommy at the Spray Source, so today is gonna be the very first time that I get to use this system. We've got all of our panels in the booth and we're ready to actually start spraying. They've all been blown off, clean, scuffed, ready to go. There's 4 different panels over here. They get 1 coat of a gray sealer, and there's 4 different panels over here that are ultimately gonna get a black sealer. And what we really wanna show you is the pros and cons and advantages and disadvantages of each one of these types of panels. We even have a speed body in here where we're going to show you how that plays for color development. So the only thing to do now is to take my old side of Jet B and get a coat of sealer on these bad boys. All right, I'm ready for base coat. Now this isn't just any base coat. This is the 46V, the infamous Mazda Soul Red, the hardest color in the world to match, blah, blah, blah. We're gonna show you how to hit this color and hit it perfect every time. Here's one thing you gotta remember with any spray out, no matter if it's big or small, you have to honor your flash times. We're using solvent today. We're gonna put a coat on, wait 10 or 15 minutes, put a coat on, wait 10 or 15 minutes. We're not gonna pound it on like water, wait 2 seconds, pound it on like water. That's not how we're painting the car, so that's not how we're painting our spray outs. Only thing I'm trying to do right now with the red is to achieve coverage +1 before I move on to the mid coat. So that's my first coat of base. A couple things I want to point out. Notice how I didn't spray it super wet, but I didn't spray it dry. With solvent, that's pretty important. Notice how consistent it is. It isn't dark at the bottom, light at the top, or streaky. Another thing that you need to know is undercoats matter. What do I mean by that? If I was painting a vehicle with a white sealer, a gray sealer, or a black sealer, it could affect the color match. In most cases, the computer will tell us what color sealer to use. So if you don't know that, you might want to do a little bit of homework because your undercoats can and will affect a lot of your colors. So my red is a factory color, my black is a wild custom color. I've already got it in black sealer. I'm just gonna fire 1 or 2 coats of black base coat on it to make sure that it's covered before I put the icing on. Now, depending on how much this I put on, it's gonna drastically change the color. Everybody sprays a little bit different, so the cool thing about a letdown panel is, do I do 3 coats, 4 coats, 5 coats? You may like 2, I may like 7, but it's gonna show our hand and show us exactly how many coats to put on. The cool thing now is our base coat is fully covered. We checked it. We're gonna let it dry up, and then we're gonna start putting some tape on this bad boy, get it ready for the mid coat. Now that the base coat is dry, what I like to do, and this is why I call it the ultimate letdown panel, is I like to cover up the base coat. So before I put the mid coat on, I want to know what my base coat is. Typically, I just take some 1.5 or 2-inch tape, and I just come in and cover it up. You can see these panels over here. What I've done is I've already took my 1.5 inches and I've covered up my base. This guy right here, about every 3 inches, I'm going to just put a piece of tape down so it looks like this. It's imperative to start at the bottom. You can measure up if you want, but I just go about 3.5 inches up, lay one down, 3.5 inches up, lay one down, and you'll see how I pull it. Progressively, what's going to happen is this is going to have 1 area for base coat and 5 areas for mid coat. And for the collision guys, I know that's a lot. But the reason why I like that is once I get the middle where it's perfect, I've got 2 darker and 2 lighter. For these bigger panels, I typically do 6 if I'm doing a custom car. So I have 2 of them in the middle that I like, and I do have 2 lighter and 2 darker. And you'll see how it kind of unfolds. Now we're ready for the mid coat, and I'll explain what a mid coat is here in a second. This is getting like a translucent red, and this is getting like a crazy purple Zorelic pearl one. Now, this is still base coat. I do not want to spray it on too wet or too dry. Again, we're using a solvent, so it's going to be that nice medium. I call this spraying blind. I'm not going to see like something change very rapidly. It might take multiple coats, so I don't want to spray it too wet or too dry. I got to kind of be colorblind, and when I spray it, I have to look more for wetness than what I think my eyes are going to see. But essentially what a tri-coat is the base coat is the color. I want to achieve coverage +1. It can't be sort of see-through. And then the mid coat is a translucent color. That means it's kind of like a Jolly Rancher where you can kind of see some color but not enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put multiple coats of this mid coat on to see which one matches best, or for my custom car guys, which one I like best. And you'll see how this unfolds. We got our first coat of mid on and it's dry. So with these spray out cards, what most guys will do is they'll just do 3 little areas. They'll move their tape down. That way, ultimately, when I spray it again, this will have 2, this will have 3, and they can keep going. This is a little different. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull this and throw it away. And you're not going to see this color pop until it's clear. And there's 100 reasons why we call this the ultimate letdown panel. Keeping our base coat covered is only 1. So right now, this has 1, this has nothing. When I spray it again, this will have 2, and this will have 1. When I pull this one, it'll be 3, 2, 1. I'll go all the way to 6. The cool thing is when I get to 6, this will have 6, 5, 4, all the way down to 1. For you custom guys, you old school candy guys who put 10 coats of candy or mid coat or pearl or flake, I could hit it again where it's 7 to 2, 8 to 3. I'm going to keep going until those 2 areas in the middle look the way that I want them, and then I can stop. So we're pretty much done with base. If you can see, this area has 6, this area has 1. I didn't have to do a drop coat or an effect coat on this because this is just a traditional mid coat. It doesn't have any pearl or any metallic in it. But notice how little that this tape has changed color. I'm not smoking it on. Once it's dry, I'm ready to peel this off. That way I always know what my base coat was before I started. So if you can see this is 1 coat, this is 6. I'm gonna peel my base in a minute and you can see that it's black. Same thing here, this is 5 to 1, but with this guy, because it's so heavy with pearl, I'm gonna come in and probably do 2 drop coats. We're ready for clear. I'm gonna blast on 2 coats of clear with my Sada 5500 RP. I know I'm purposely leaving some things out. I promise we'll tie it in towards the end of the video. If you notice, we're not clearing the entire panel. There's a reason for that. We're not being cheap, but this is why we call it the ultimate letdown panel. So let's get our clear on and see what it looks like. If you are a production collision painter and time is money, you're not going to be doing these big panels. These traditional spray out cards is probably okay for you. I would recommend clearing them though versus dumping solvent on top of them. I would also recommend with any spray out is looking at it under natural sunlight and or artificial sunlight because sometimes they'll look a little bit different. But for my production guys, this is probably all you need. What about these larger panels? Where do these come into play? If you're developing a cool custom color or you're having trouble matching some wild tri-coat that may be factory, may not be factory, I really think these come into play. And I especially like this big boy right here with the curve, because sometimes when you look at a color, especially if it's a pearl or candy or metallic, it will look very different if it's flat versus the car has a natural shape to it. So I like the curved panels for that, especially if I'm trying to hit a very complicated color and I'm trying to hit it perfectly. But they all have their advantages and disadvantages. Why do we do the speed bodies? Well, that's different. And that's really more for high-end custom cars and stuff like that. Once I get an owner who likes this color and they say, I like this many coats or this many coats, I will transfer that over to a speed body. That way they can see it in 3D. This color looks pretty, but unless you're driving like a square UPS or Amazon van, most vehicles are not a big box. It will look different when there's some curve and some shape to it. But these guys can be bought on our Amazon store for like $1 or $2, and this will show the colors and how they highlight and how they sparkle different a lot better than a flat panel. But the sweet thing is somewhere in your shop, I just stack these bad boys up. And I can stack them up 50 high. And people are like, oh, they're gonna get scratched or they're tools. These are not cars. These are tools that I use to match or develop color. And some of these that I have are 30 years old. That's all it is to me, is a tool, and I don't care if they get a little bit scratched up. So what makes these the ultimate letdown panels? Well, first off, these are not the ultimate letdown panels. This is just a spray out card. This is a speed body. This is the JV version of the ultimate letdown panel. This is the ultimate letdown panel. And there's 4 major things that this thing has that these don't. Number 1, it's not a flat panel. Because it's curved, I can actually see what my colors are doing, how they dance and how they shift. Number 2 is half of the panel is cleared, half the panel is not. So when I'm spraying the color and matching the color and I'm actually in the booth, I can't get thrown off, I can't get tricked. The third thing that I like about it, and what ultimately makes it the ultimate letdown panel, is it has an exposed area of the base coat. So if I wanted to do another color down the road and I wanted to modify it 5-10 years down the road, I know what I started with. Last but not least, what makes it the ultimate letdown panel, and probably the most important, is the labeling. This thing I could have 5-10 years down the road. I may not know what gun I used or what pressure or how many coats or what paint line or whatever. Organization and labeling is everything. I can stack and keep this bad boy, and I can duplicate or modify any color moving forward. Hey, if you like this kind of content, you might want to check out this video right here on color development and basic color matching. It really helps. Please like and subscribe to our channel. It really helps David and I grow. I wanted to say thank you to Tommy from the Spray Source for supplying this alpha paint. If you want to know what we really think about it, you're going to have to wait for the future, because we'll probably have another review or a video coming. From all of us at Refinish Media, until the next time.